Crackers and chips. You said crackers and chips.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of our podcast, Get Off the Damn Fence. That's right, we're back for another week, talking all the latest in sports, joined as I am each and every week by our co-host, Calvin Thomas, co-host, Justin Beard, Barbara Harris.
Oh,
Gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight?
Another co-host.
Yeah, I hear another voice in the background. Calvin, who's that little? Is that little Kobe in the house?
Yeah, he hiding right now. Come in.
Oh man, you got to turn your blurry background off so he don't fade into the background.
Come here.
What's going on, little fella?
Say hi.
Hi.
You ready for the baseball season? You ready? You got a game Saturday? Got a baseball game Saturday?
Yes.
You excited?
Yes.
What position you playing?
All of them.
Bench.
Boy on the bench.
Hey man, good luck with your game, and we're supporting you. All right, have fun.
Okay.
All right, brother. Always great. But it's good to see you all this week for another edition. We thank you for being patient with us. We know some of you are looking for us on Tuesday night, but we ventured on to Wednesday, as tonight is the final night before the NBA Finals kicks off tomorrow. And so we have more to talk about leading into the finals. Also, we got some big news coming out of the NBA as a result of what happened in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks have decided to go a different direction, and we'll talk about that as well. And we're going to get into a little Orioles. The Orioles been on a little run here lately, so we'll dive into that. So we got some topics. You know, it's not football season yet, and we're coming up on 1 year anniversary of Get Off the Damn Fence, as we talked about. And we will have a great celebration of the last year. I'm going to put together a little compilation video recapping some of our highlights of the first year of the show. Also, we're going to get back to what we started last year, where we previewed every NFL team heading into the 2025 season. We'll go from the teams that finished at the bottom of the league all the way to the best. Each week, we'll give you a preview, what to expect from each of these teams, their roster additions, their best trades, their best draft picks, what we expect they will turn out to be at the end of the year. All that's coming to you. So we got a lot coming up the next couple months. But right now, we get into the NBA. The finals are upon us, and we got a lot to talk about. And I want to get some predictions. At the beginning of the year, if I'd have told you the NBA finals will be between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, would you have believed me? Anybody? Would anybody believe that? Now, the Thunder were a pick by many people. And I remember, and I'm going to toss it to him because I remember Calvin came on this very podcast and he said Chet Holmgren and the Oklahoma City Thunder were coming, and he gave them great props. Calvin, although you did not pick them to go to the finals, I will give you credit for at least having given this team. So
I did pick Oklahoma City to go to the finals.
Once Luka went to the Lakers, you picked the Lakers. But so let's keep that clear.
Somebody else put the Knicks in 5, so we all.
Oh yeah. So Calvin, the finals start tomorrow night. Preview for us what you expect to see between the Thunder and the Pacers on Thursday night.
I was thinking last week amongst this 2-2 Eastern Conference Finals, what would be the best matchup for the Oklahoma City Thunder? And I came to the conclusion that it is the Indiana Pacers, because everyone that has a preliminary offensive threat, a primary ball handler, Oklahoma City has demolished them. It was Ant in the Western Conference Finals. It was Ja in the Western Conference first round. Anyone that was that dominant figure, Jokic is Jokic. That's an outlier. You gotta leave that alone. But anyone that had that dominant ball handler, they just demolished them in this road to the playoffs. So I thought Indiana would be the best matchup. However, Indiana, I'm still picking them against them. I don't have enough. I don't believe in them enough. Halliburton's been so up and down. Siakam surprisingly won Eastern Conference Finals MVP over Halliburton. A little bit of controversy if you ask me. But I just don't know if Indiana has enough to beat Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City can play rough. If they let them play, they're gonna beat them up. If they don't let them play, Oklahoma City's gonna finesse them to death. So either way, I see this matchup going to Oklahoma City's favor. I got them in 5. I think Indiana gets 1, but I don't see how you stop Shea. I don't see how you stop Halliburton. I'm sorry, I don't see how you stop Chet. Lou Dort on Halliburton. I think it's gonna be a phenomenal matchup for Oklahoma City. It's just too deep. It's too much. This is their year, and this is the start of the dynasty of Oklahoma.
Justin, what's your thoughts on this matchup?
OKC in 4. There's no hate behind that. It's
There's a lot of hate behind that.
No, it's not. It's just I don't see what they can do. I don't see an advantage that they have that they can exploit off of OKC. When you say Lou Dort is going to guard Halliburton, it's just not that. He's not the center point of that team. That team runs as a full engine, like it's it's all pieces, all parts are moving. So if he has the ball, they can give it to Nodhart. He can go off. Neesmith can go off. Like Siakam can go off. You need a base defense, and you can switch everything. That is what OKC has. They are the premier team when it comes to that. You have Lou Dort, you have Shea, you got Caruso off the bench, you got Wiggins off the bench, you got Jalen Williams, you got the backup other Jalen Williams. Like they're going to switch everything, and they're going to be in everyone's face. That's what New York had issues with. Once they started to do certain pick and rolls and started to pinpoint Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, it was a wrap. The others could not back them up. You don't necessarily have that type of liability. They can just run one big. They could just run Hartenstein and let Chet back him up, or vice versa. They could run one big and just the rest of them be guards, in a sense, right? And they will keep up with what the Pacers are trying to do. They will keep pace with them. And then you got to worry about Shea. Shea is not Jalen Brunson. Shea is 6'5", 6'6", and he's going to shoot shots. And if Jalen Brunson can average about 30 in that series, Shea is going to average about 30 to 35 with free throws to go with it. So the things that they exploited in New York, they don't have an opportunity to do with OKC. OKC in 4.
So from a finals perspective, when's the last time we saw a sweep in the NBA finals? Like, I get your prediction. I'm not knocking it. What I'm saying is, what is the likelihood?
Golden State
in 2018.
So you look at OKC on level of that type of the juggernaut, or do you think that the Pacers are just not that bad of a team that they can't keep up with this team? Is that what is the dichotomy here?
Matchups means everything.
Sure.
If I would have said Boston was in this position and the way they go, and when you have a Brown and a Tatum to make big shots, to take shots and things like that, whereas though they're not relying on anything, they can create their own shots. They're not relying on ball movement or anything like that. We're just going to shoot over top of Caruso. We're going to shoot over top of Shea. That's a bit different. I would have said it's something totally different when it comes to them. But when you have the Pacers where they're talking about spread the ball, and then let's see if Halliburton or somebody else, McConnell or somebody, can break down the defense and drive right by them because Miles Turner is on the wing too. Well, no, they got athletes. They got athletes over there, and their whole entire thing is nothing but athletes. OKC went 29-1 against the Eastern Conference. They didn't do that by fluke. They're just that talented, and you needed someone like a Jokic for a complete difference maker to give them problems. You needed someone like last year, Luka Doncic, which at that point was just on fire the whole entire postseason, led his team to the finals. You needed those kind of dudes to counteract what OKC is doing. Indiana's not built that way. They're just not.
Yeah. Matchups, and you can look back on Indiana's run and you can say there's been some luck, some injury luck. They had Dame in the first round, missed 3 of the 5 games.
And when he came back, he wasn't the same.
He wasn't correct. Darius Garland missed the first 2 games.
And when he came back, he wasn't the same.
And they had 3 people missing game 2 as well. And even in New York, I mean, New York was probably the outlier, but injuries.
With New York, we had no injuries. However, they took advantage of weak defensive moments when it comes to New York. Karl Anthony Towns not pressing, not going over the picks, dropping back, and those shooters were shooting.
Singing Cat's praise a week ago.
Hey man, it was all good a week ago. It's not like that today, and we have to hold accountability. They picked on Jalen Brunson as well. They picked on the weaker defensive guys, and they shot the lights out when it came to that situation. So,
Yeah.
I mean, New York will make a layup. Notice I'm not even saying we anymore. New York will make a layup, and they will inbound the ball and do a fast break off the inbound.
Off the
That
inbound,
happened
yeah.
5 times, 4 to
Yeah.
5 times in that last game. That's unheard of when it comes to basketball. That means you weren't able, either your guards or whoever, weren't able to go back and stop it. You're supposed to crash. You're supposed to dive back. They didn't do that. Those type of lapses, that's like 10 points. OKC would not allow that. That's why I said they can just run one big, and they got Caruso going back there. He's going to get back there. Wiggins is going to get back there. Dort is going to get back there. Those
Jalen
type
Williams.
of leak outs, those
Both
things,
of them.
it won't happen. That's what I'm saying. If it does, then I'm shocked, and Indiana is playing lights out. I just don't see those type of mistakes happening. They're not going to take advantage. They're fresh. They run about 10 deep themselves.
I was going to say that.
They're not going to have to worry about one person.
This is
You can
probably
try to guard Shea 94 feet. He's going to break you down and drive right by you and create problems. Unlike Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson could not do that. Why? Because it was his third series in which he was guarded 94 feet. Shea doesn't have those issues. They got other ball handlers on the team. It's just a different team, man.
This is probably the only team that's deeper than Indiana, in which they'll go 10 deep in the finals. Like it's nothing and play a regular rotation.
And those guys are better.
Yeah.
They're better.
Yeah.
Caruso's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I just like to hear y'all perspective when y'all say certain things. And if we come on this show a week from today and it's tied, your series is 2-2 or something. Now, series start Thursday.
Sunday, Tuesday.
Yeah, so it could possibly be, tied 1-1 going into Tuesday night on our next show. Would anybody be shocked if Indiana took one in OKC? Anybody?
I would.
You would legitimately be shocked after what you just saw with Indiana being in every game, never being out of anything, always being able to come back.
See, the thing is,
went 7 with Denver. Like
OKC saw that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They saw New York give up game 1, so they're already going to be on focus, on edge, as in we cannot let up like that. Shea's different, man. This is the MVP. He's gonna go down. Somebody's gonna call a free throw or something. Like I'm going to continue to push the pace. That's the difference between Shea. I know of this season compared to previous seasons, at least especially in the postseason. He's gonna go down putting up 25 shots. Try to beat him.
Look, in Indiana's last 2 series, they did not have home court advantage. When they got to game 3 at home, they were up 2 on both series. Oklahoma City saw that. They're not going to give up 1 at home. I got Indiana possibly getting 1, maybe game 4 at home, but besides that, no. OKC's running. OKC knows what Indiana can do. I think they're going to exploit their weaknesses. They can play either a grinded out game, or if they get the calls, then Shade's going to limit the line, and he's going to put up 40. Indiana can't stop him either way. They've been playing better defense the second half of the season. I don't care who you put on SGA. He's going to get buckets out of the free throw line. He's going to get somebody in foul trouble, or he's going to get his buckets one-on-one. Shea is the MVP. He's going to show you why he's the MVP. He's going to put Oklahoma. And if this is a successful series, if this is an MVP statement by the MVP, he gets them on a 5. You don't play around with your food. Get it over with.
Okay. Look, I love the moxie. I love the confidence that you all speak with. And this is why we on this show. It's called Get Off the Damn Fence for a reason. And y'all certainly are on this fence. You're saying it with conviction. And I truly appreciate that. Problem is, I just don't know if we can definitively say, after watching what Indiana did to Milwaukee, again, a hampered Milwaukee team, not taking nothing away from that, because, I like Milwaukee. I can honestly say, they weren't at full strength. But the fashion in which they came back after Giannis was putting on those great performances, that gives me cause for pause. That gives me cause to be like, I don't know, dog. There's something else going on here that we might need to look at. Like this team is built a little different. And I just don't think we can be as flippant with our just they have no chance mentality when we've seen them do what they did to New York. By the way, who beat Boston pretty fairly easily. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a significant victory in my opinion. So I'm not just going to sit here and act like, they have no chance. We just saw it.
I'll say you referenced this series. In the 4 games that Indiana won that first series, they put up 118 at least. I would be surprised if they got to 120 against Oklahoma City. Okay. They can't score. They can't score enough to hang with Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's offense is better. Oklahoma City's star is better. Oklahoma City's ancillary parts are better. They're just better all around. If you want to say coaching with Carlisle, I'll fight. I'll give you that. But
how can we say they can't score when that's all we've been saying from them all playoffs?
No, I'm saying they can't score in Oklahoma City. That's what I'm saying.
But we saw Denver score in Oklahoma City. We've seen Denver went 7.
We saw Jokic. And
Jokic wasn't dominant every game. Jokic was not dominant in every game.
Jokic is the best player in the world.
But he wasn't like he wasn't like the sole reason why that team
presence out there is enough, in my opinion. So
I get that, but I'm just saying. So I would slow down anyway. Okay. I don't think this is gonna be no 4. You said how many games, Calvin?
I said 5.
Okay, you giving them 1 back in Indiana, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I believe this team has been pretty good on the road as well. Winning in New York, winning in who's they beat?
Cleveland.
Before? Cleveland, who was the number 1 seed all year. Yeah. And again, I think that's your comp. You know what I mean? Once Cleveland got healthy, they still smoked them. Again, I'm just not that good. So
you got Oklahoma City on what?
Sunday. I got 6 games. Oh, okay. I give them 2. I think, and I would not look. I know this is like hedging. I'm not hedging. I think Oklahoma City is the better team. Nobody expected the Pacers to be here. I just don't like the flippantness in which the Pacers have been talked about tonight. And I feel like some of this comes from because we had no anticipation of them going this far. So it's still hard for us to grasp the fact that the team just might be this good. And Pascal Siakam has really shown himself to be a really good star in this league. He's not an all-star. He's not a superstar.
No, he's an all-star. He's been an all-star. So when you say Pascal, that is probably the one guy where as though I don't think that, and I don't think OKC has an answer for 100%. That they don't have anybody to match what he does. Honestly, I think one of the better guards, one of his better defenders is OG on the Knicks, and he pretty much washed him. So I don't think if he goes out putting up 40, that's a different animal. So I don't think he has that type of series in him. But if he performs, and then let's say Jalen Williams doesn't bring his bag, then you got a shot. They got a shot. I don't think that's happening.
All right. So let's look at it from another angle. What about the legacy? Because we always look at the finals as legacy defining series. You know, these are things that can make you bigger than what you really are. First, let's look at SGA. SGA, MVP of the league this year. Many people thought he should be 2-time MVP at this point. He should have won last in some people's eyes. If he goes on to win the NBA Finals this season, what does an NBA Finals and an MVP do to his legacy? Where does this put him as this, next star of the league? Is he where do you rank him far as, we know when Giannis won his title, he'd already had 2 or 3 MVPs underneath his belt. When Jokic won his title, he already had one. He had one, but he went on and got 3 MVPs and an NBA title. SGA will have to go right there in that same little pocket. Where would you rank him at? Let's start with you, Justin, in the breathing into the mic.
When you say ranking, like as in between those other 2 guys, or like in general,
how are we looking at him? Where's he at? Is he the top of this echelons of players right now? And when I say right now, for the 2020s, 2020 to me is a whole different animal.
Okay, so he is putting himself pretty much top dog for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Let's say that. That team is young enough to make a run. Just like we expected Boston to kind of take this leap 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Mhm.
They just never could get over the hump until they won it, in a sense, right? This team went from not making the playoffs to making the playoffs to being in the finals. That's a hell of a upswing.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
they had that same core for the next couple years. So when you're talking about, I'm not saying dynasty. I dare not to use that word, but putting yourself head and shoulders above your contemporaries, that's what he's doing. So if you take out Giannis and Joker, those aren't his contemporaries, just as you were saying. His contemporaries are, let's say, Ant-Man, let's say Luka, let's say Halliburton. Those are his crew, and he's putting himself above all of them for the next foreseeable future.
Wemby.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Calvin.
If they win, he's Finals MVP. He's on the brink of superstardom. He has a chance to become the next superstar. I'm not saying he will be.
Whoa. We just had a conversation about superstars last week.
Okay, and I say he will be on the brink of superstardom. That's why I said.
What else would he need to do? He got an MVP and a champion, a Finals MVP,
Okay,
and he was second last year.
you want me to say he will be a superstar then?
What else is there? You want him to win again?
No. I just want to see consistency. I want to see this play just going into the next year. I want to see you operate as the favorite. So when you're the favorite next year, how does that change your game? Do you just go out?
He was the favorite this year. He was number one seed overall.
No, I'm going into the season. Going into the season, they weren't the favorite.
Okay.
So that's what I mean. Going into the season, we've seen you.
You want to see him defend his crown.
I want to see how do you defend it, and you're going to be playing in a tougher Western Conference.
Nobody defended it over the last 6 years.
But it's a matter of making a run, is my opinion. When Boston lost 2 years ago, they got back 2 years later. They stayed in that range to get back to the finals. You got to stay competitive, in my opinion.
But you don't even think Tatum is a superstar, which I agree. So that's not a criteria. If you say Jokic is a superstar, he never went back to the finals.
We all agree he's a superstar.
He never went back to the finals, so he didn't defend
the individual accolades that's undeniable.
3-time MVP, baby.
So you got to be 3-time MVP for you to be a superstar.
No, I didn't say that. I said he has individual.
I think
you have to have two great seasons.
Harden got one.
He was second last year. That's a great season. I
don't see Harden. I don't know.
If you're second in MVP, that's a great season, no?
Correct.
So this is the second.
It depends. It depends. You could be second and be a distant second. If it's a unanimous MVP and you in second, you tie with 30 other players. So does that really matter?
So you're a superstar to get an MVP. Is that what we're saying?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Next week we getting the criteria down of what makes a superstar because we're having circles in this conversation.
2 weeks in a row.
I'm not for that. So next week we gonna break down. We're gonna have a chart and we're gonna get this chart down pat. But continue. I cut you off.
Well, I know who ain't a superstar, and that's Tyrese Halliburton. And last week we had a lot of people after he made those big shots talking about he's on the cusp. I remember Jason Williams went on Get Up and First Take talking about he's there, and then he go out and score 8 points, they win. He go out there and score 9 points, they win. And Pascal Siakam go out there and put up buckets. And look, he thought he was going to win Eastern Conference.
Oh, he started walking
MVP.
on him. Yeah. See that? Started walking. Boy,
wait. So y'all agree with Siakam? Y'all agree with Siakam?
Yeah, Siakam was consistent.
As a person that was like, yo, I'm not worried about Halliburton. I really wasn't. Now, could he go off 100%? No doubt. And he did. He had one great game. And he had other good games. That consistent that you bring up, that damn, he got 30 again, yo. Damn, he got 30 again. Oh, was that a time?
Twice, though, right?
Was that a timely bucket again? Was that a timely 3-point shot again? That was all Pascal, bro. Every time we made a run, it was Pascal with the fire signature, no doubt.
He scored 30 twice, right?
If not, he was averaging close to it.
Look, I'm just saying. I mean, I know it was close.
He never give you 8.
I think and when he gave him 8, they lost. So the team went as he went, which is I'm just saying. Look, game 1, who won that game? Was that Halliburton with the time shot, and then with the
that was
game
just a
time
time
shot.
Neidhart actually won the goddamn thing.
So now the Pascal or Halliburton. That's cool. I'm okay with that. In the second game, I think Siakam had 30 in the guard. I think he had 38 because he almost had 40, I believe. Game 3 at home, Indiana lost. That was Halliburton's game. Game 4 was Halliburton's game. Game 5, they lost. No one played well. I'm just saying, I think the engine of that team, the point guard, the guy that makes the decisions, deserves a little more credit. We're giving it to Siakam when you can make the argument that was poor defense on New York's part and not just straight off and not just straight Siakam going to work. I think we're giving it to Siakam a little bit more credit and Halliburton deserves some of that credit. That's all I'm saying. I had him number 1 in my book.
Well,
and because he's a Finals MVP.
The majority.
Halliburton?
Yeah.
The majority of people had Pascal, so that's why you won it.
It was 5-4 or 6-5, whatever it was.
That's the majority, right?
That's the majority. Okay.
All right.
I mean, look, I'm just saying. I just think Pascal has some solid, great performances. Good performances and great performances. And Halliburton's highs are very high. His lows were low.
Josh
you can't be that low. I'm sorry.
Mikal Bridges.
It was mainly Mikal.
Ain't Bridges supposed to be a good defender? Ain't he supposed to be a good defender? Wasn't he bragging about what happened against Boston when he made them strips and the blocks?
No, we was bragging for him.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, come on, man. Take the good with the bad.
No, the problem was y'all should have been down 20 more. So y'all started to play.
Yeah, well, the same with Pacers. That's the problem. You were playing a team that did the same thing. They love to come back on people. So anyway, I think that this series will be won and lost at SGE's lap. We know you can etch him in for 28 a game. Like, that's nothing. I think for him, 35, 40, like you say, their defense is just ferocious. So anyway, his legacy will be, when it's all said and done, we'll see what his real legacy is, but these playoffs will be won and lost in the hands of SGA, in my opinion.
So, right. What's the benefit if Halliburton wins? We didn't necessarily say that. So we don't think he's a superstar from this, but I mean, in my opinion, he definitely.
It'll be one of the greatest runs.
Top 3 point guards. Does he?
No, he doesn't claim that spot. No, he doesn't get the benefit. It goes to Siakam. What are we talking about?
Two things can be true.
Exactly. If he wins Finals MVP, that's the difference.
We're talking about the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals. We saw what happened. Like I say, had Halliburton kept up that same energy from when he scored that he had 31 and went like bonkers.
Yeah,
in
30
and
15 assists and
15 and 8, something like no turnovers.
Yeah, no turnovers. Yeah. That game was like creme de la creme. And then the next 2 games, he followed up with 8 points and like 12.
You say he'll be a top 3 point guard?
I'm asking. I'm saying, does that not put him up there as a Finals MVP winner?
No. Top 3 in what? Who in the playoffs?
Point guards, just point guards
in the league. Period.
In the league.
No.
Top 5. Like that's what I'm saying.
Best point guard in the East.
What does it do for? We talk about legacy. We understand what it does for Shea. That's superstar. All kind of we argue about superstar. What does it do for Halliburton?
I think it makes him a legend in Indiana. Brought them that first title.
I mean, he
a legend now.
He a legend now.
Well, okay, would he be the best Indiana player ever?
Hell no, Reggie Miller's still the best.
Okay, so he get top 3 in that. Top 3, top 5. Okay, I'm talking about as in the league because that's his thing. Like he went from most overrated to, not playing in the Olympics to. Hey, I want to.
Are you trying to say face the league, best player, best American-born player?
I'm not. No, I'm not. How did you get that from top 5 point guard? That's all I'm saying.
Kind of weak.
That's what I say. I say he's the best point guard in the East. You can make the argument he's the best player in the East. He's the best player in the East next year.
He's the best player in the East.
Potentially, depending on what Giannis does.
That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous claim. You think he better than Jalen Brunson?
I personally don't, but I'm just asking.
You think he better than Jason Tatum, who you said was elite?
Tatum not playing next. I said next year. Tatum's not playing next year.
You think he better than Jaylen Brown, who you say is elite?
Yes.
Like, come on,
yes.
like, come on, man.
Yes, he's better than Jaylen Brown.
He's not a better point guard than the guy that the Boston has.
Than Dirk White?
He's not better than Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday is a better point guard than him. And he's a champion.
You got to think if Halliburton has that type of performance to get Finals MVP.
The run that he went on,
He's gonna average like 30 and like damn near 10 throughout the series.
beat the best team in the league, won 67
and
games.
he beats the Thunder. That's
he beat
You're
the
projecting.
two best teams
Okay,
in the
you're
league.
projecting.
that's what we're doing.
Right.
It's legacy, right? That's what we're talking about.
I didn't assume that you were talking about if he goes out there and plays bonkers in his Finals MVP. Then you're taking that into. I wasn't thinking about that. Okay, I can see that if that's the prerequisite for what we're talking about. But then I still don't think he's. That's tough. That's a tough claim.
Hey man, that's what I'm saying. Like what else would he have to do? Like he said, y'all forgot about me. Y'all think I'm not as good. All I did was just perform the whole entire playoffs.
I saw what he did to y'all. I'm not disrespecting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so for his legacy to win this, to get Finals MVP, top 5 point guard in the game. No?
Oh yeah,
I'd say top 5.
Top 5.
That's what I was saying. Top 5.
Best point guard in the East. Best point guard in the East.
Name your 5 point guards.
Not necessarily.
Name your 5 point guards. I don't think he's better than Dame, but Dame not healthy right now.
Dame never took his team to the finals and won Finals MVP.
Dame never took his team to the finals. Yeah,
agreed.
I don't think no guard since Curry has done that. So
Luka took his team, but they lost. So.
They lost.
Yeah. All right. We'll revisit. We'll see. Somebody's legacy will be infected one way or another.
No doubt.
Let's move on. Eastern Conference, big news this past week. So let's recap. The Knicks with Tom Thibodeau, excuse me. Yeah. First in the East Finals, first time in the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years.
Yep.
Playoffs 4 of the past 5
years. Yep.
I think y'all had back-to-back 50-win
seasons since 1990. Yep.
Back-to-back. And then he get fired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think being on a weekly podcast with a Knicks fan sometimes can jade you. Sometimes you hear a little bit of the frustrations from the inside man. So you're looking at like, well, maybe that's what everyone's thinking. I mean, if everybody's thinking that, who am I? But I think the problem I tend to have with teams, fans of teams in big markets like the Cowboys or the Lakers or the Knicks or the Yankees or Duke, those type of fan bases, they tend to always think that no matter what, their team should be the champ every year. Like the Knicks haven't won in my lifetime. You know what I mean? But the expectation is always that they should be the winner. You know what I mean? So for a team that I haven't seen win since the early 2000s, really, like
no one thought RJ Barrett and Julius Randle was going to win a championship.
Nobody did.
Y'all thought that was going to be Kevin Durant and Zion Williamson. So let's.
But that's not us thinking that we was going to win with those guys. That's all I'm saying.
Whenever y'all have gotten a glimmer of hope, y'all thought it was championship time. I've seen it happen.
As most fan bases.
No, I'm just saying it just goes to times 20 with y'all. When Melo was there, y'all had to win. Y'all was
Melo.
Y'all was the next champ. You know what I mean?
Knicks take is an epic team that lost against the Pacers in the second round.
So I think for Tom Thibodeau to come there and get back-to-back 51 seasons, go into the playoffs in this year, go after you go out and you trade away some of your pieces, you bring in the Villanova guy, you loaded up the roster. I didn't think for a 1-year project. I thought this is for a rebuild, like something to build upon. And you go out and beat the defending champion Boston Celtics convincingly. It wasn't like y'all just squeaked by, snuck up on them, beat them when they were injured. They were at full strength for the most part. Kristaps Porzingis was kind of a no-show, but Tatum got hurt at the end of the series. But to beat the Boston Celtics and Tom Thibodeau be the coach of that team that did that, I think that earns you another year. I think that earns you another opportunity to come back and see there's going to be no Tatum next year. opportunities. This Pacers team is beatable if you make some adjustments. Why would you blow it up and get rid of the coach who has established this identity that you at least have some sort of identity?
Mhm.
Now, if you're going to blame management for getting away some of the defensive intensity and moving them away from a defensive team, fine. But I don't think that's on Tom Thibodeau per se. Now, can he adjust his rotations, which has been well documented? Of course. But I just think this is a bit hasty, and I think he earned himself one more year. Calvin, I'm going to let you go first, and then we'll let Justin clean it up.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if Tom Thibodeau was the right guy to lead this team to where they wanted to go. This team does not have a Tom Thibodeau identity. It's not a defensive-minded team. They're an offensive-minded team. They have a great point guard and a great interior 1-2 punch with Cat and Jalen Brunson. I don't know if offensively Tibbs can be the head guy to get you through a regular season to an NBA Finals. Can he get you through a regular season with 50 wins? Obviously, he's done that. Can he get you to the NBA Finals playing guys 40 minutes? That plays a part in it as well. Does this team have the mindset, the spirit that Tom Thibodeau wants to play with defensively? No. So if you don't have the personnel that best suits this coach, why are you keeping him around? If you wanted to, you shouldn't have traded for Cat last year because you knew Cat was not going to bring what Thibodeau wanted defensively. We saw Cat get Tibbs fired in Minnesota. So why do we think anything was going to be different 5 years later? My point is, you had to make a decision. Last year, you made the decision to get Mikal Bridges to trade five first-round draft picks. You're stuck with that decision. You're stuck with basically a roster for the most part. If you're going to change this roster to try to get to the next level, try to get to the NBA Finals, take that next step that you couldn't take this year, you have to change the coach, in my opinion. You have to get an offensive-minded coach, a coach that could develop players off the bench that's not going to have your star players playing 40 minutes a game during the regular season in meaningless games. He had them playing up 30 with 5 minutes left against Boston in the last round in Game 6, knowing that Indiana's waiting for you. There are certain things that just ingrained into your mentality, and that's the one thing that's ingrained with Tibbs. He hasn't had that success because he just grinds his guys so much. And I think that plays a part. And also, I think, like I said, offensively, you can do better to get more people involved. We saw how this offense got stagnant so many times, how Brunson had to bail him out, how he always had the ball in his hands, how there was no flow until he was off the court. And then you still don't have any flow, but you see ball movement. There were so many things, in my opinion, that they can do better offensively. I don't know if Tibbs is that guy to do that with this roster. That's all I got.
Jesse?
Okay, so it's a few things. Calvin hit on a lot of them. Tibbs is the kind of guy that changed your culture. I can guarantee you that. He took the Chicago Bulls, which was they started to sink under the Baby Bulls era with Ben Gordon and Kurt Hondrich. They got Derrick Rose, and he rolled Derrick Rose until literally his legs fell off. But he made them into a conference finals. Minnesota wasn't necessarily pretty much anything after the KG era, Al Jefferson, that type of joint. They got number 1 draft pick, so on and so forth. They started to win games. They went to the playoffs. He's the type of guy that will change your franchise from bottom feeders to actually somewhat of playoff contenders. I will give him that. Washington should probably hire him next, to be honest with you, with those young guys that they have. Wow. So,
my bad.
Yep, threw me off a little bit. So what went wrong with this situation? Well, 3 months ago, Mikal Bridges said something, and he came out publicly and said something about the bench players, not necessarily that they're tired, as in the starters. He said, no, these guys are actually good. They're good players. They need more time. That definitely rubbed Tibbs the wrong way. And I was like, I'm going to sit on that. I'm going to wait for that. Game 3, in which we beat Indiana. What did he do? He went into his bench, and miraculously, these guys started to put ball out. So you mean to tell me that you could have played them the whole entire time? That is like red flag, like a huge red flag. So you have guys that's on the bench that's actually decent, and you wait until you was in a pretty much I have to empty my clip. You're back against the wall, and then you play these guys, and they F around and won. So that was damning. Second thing, there was a lot of rumblings of different ways in which he was coaching, and players wasn't feeling it. They just wasn't.
Say names.
I don't know the names yet. The names hasn't necessarily leaked out. They have issues with, let's say, Cat and his defensive issues. Well, you got it. You knew what you was getting in Cat. You should have been the main ones to say, Leon, no, we can't win with him. We can't do it. You know better than most. He pretty much decided to ride that out. Well, guess what? They was arguing back and forth. They had team meetings. They had a team meeting after they got blown out by Boston without Tatum. Wow. You needed a team meeting for that? You mean to tell me you couldn't head coach that system that way through? You needed PJ Tucker to call a team meeting? That's a problem. That's an indictment on your coaching. Lastly, and I'll end with this. It's just sometimes you need a different voice. And when I say a different voice, offensively, and Calvin was like hitting on it a lot, I can't tell you one pick and roll I saw between Jalen Brunson and Cat. You didn't see it. So what were they doing? They were playing. Jalen Brunson was going to dribble the air out the ball, and then once he couldn't do anything, Cat was going to try to do something similar. And God knows, Cat, once he started to make one direction, he can't stop and do anything like that. So it was like, here, my turn, your turn. You can't have that. You got Cat, one of the best shooters of the bigs. You got Jalen Brunson, one of the best penetrators, in the league. And then you got Mikal Bridges, which turned out to be one of the best mid-range shooters in the league. You couldn't create an offense around that. You needed a way to make this simpler, and you didn't. He had a lot of faults, and I think they was ready to get rid of him. But I think the biggest thing was when you got a player call out your deficiencies 3 months ago, and then you actually go head on and go with that, and that's one of the main reasons why you lost. What's the difference between doing this year and doing it next year? You got to cut it off some kind of way, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, good. I really didn't care. I just was saying the topic to move it forward, but fire him is good. Another white man gone. We can bring in a black coach. Let's move on.
Who you want, Justin? Who they got? Who should they hire? Who you think they're gonna hire? What's the same person?
Johnny Bryant. He was with New York last year. He's assistant. Yes. Okay. If you backtrack Johnny Bryant real quick, and Larry, you actually might like this part of it. He was with Donovan Mitchell in Utah. He was the assistant coach. He was the main ones talking to Donovan, helping him through that time period in which they had high success. Okay. He goes to New York. Julius Randle came out and said, out of everybody on the coach staff, that's the one guy that can kind of talk to him and he will actually listen. Coming from Julius Randle, that is something to say. He then goes to Cleveland this past season. Cleveland had the best record in the East, right, as an assistant, but he's there. Cleveland didn't have the best record last year. They had the best record this year. So there's some type of success with him being on the sideline. It's about time that we give him a shot. Nice young guy too, man.
Okay. All right. Well, ask Nick question because I really don't care that much. Is the Rick Brunson thing really bothering some of the players?
I would like to find out.
I didn't hear about it until today.
Basically, what Calvin's alluding to is that they are having issues with Rick. Maybe he thought that he was better than what he was. Maybe he was too hard on the players. Maybe he was showing too much favoritism. But he calls out Jalen Brunson all the time, so I don't think it was that. It's something, but. The only people that's new is Cat and Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges seemed like the type that would just call it how he see it. I don't think Mikal's the one that's like, yo, that Negro is a problem. He got to go. So if you can do that, though. I don't care. That means he saw it early. That means he saw it in Villanova. Like, I don't want this to carry on with me next year. I think it's along those lines. Like, y'all want me to sign this extension for the low? Hey, man, get rid of this dude. I'm not going to put that out there on him 100%. I don't know who it is. The ones that are putting a name to it. But if Tibbs is going, then I'm quite sure Rick might be soon to go with them.
Interesting. Yeah. Again, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I never see blaming coaches for team failure before the best players. But in this indication, if he wasn't creative offensively and wasn't the person to bring them over the hump, maybe that next coach will be the guy to get them over that line. But I still think Jalen Brunson is going to be, a pivotal part of this team going to that next level. And if they're going to keep Cat has to play better on a consistent level, at a higher level throughout the entirety of every series. And I didn't think he did that. And that was my fear all along with this team. We'll see if they make any adjustments. Do you see them bringing in a player like a Kevin Durant? Now, we know KD is on the open market.
Let me just go with that one. All right. So before Tibbs got fired, I honestly had like those charts where if this person if this happens, yes or no, and then you got yes, and then you got two scenarios from there, and then you got no, you got two. I literally had all this planned out, and KD was one of the things that was on that particular list. And the thing with KD is the reason why this is plausible, I'll say that, is because of Karl-Anthony Towns' relationship with Devin Booker. I already said if he's going anywhere else and it's not necessarily his hometown, which is Jersey, so he's not. I don't think he's going to play for Brooklyn per se. So New York will be.
He already playing for Brooklyn.
They're already there.
No, not KD. I'm talking about Cat.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if he's going to go anywhere else, then I was like, no, he's going to stay within this area.
Okay, got you.
The only other thing that he's going to go for is to play with Devin Booker. That's his Dwayne Wade, LeBron James. That's how close they are. That's his pocket with D'Angelo to go with it. That's their trio. They wanted to form that when they was in Minnesota. They tried to get Devin Booker over there, but he was too Phoenix Suns. He's there. So if I know that that's a possibility, I have to then think, how does Kevin Durant look on this team? And I'll say similarly when it comes to averages and things like that, a lot of this stuff will be similar. I'm not even gonna lie. If you tell me I got Mitchell Robinson healthy for 60 games, I'm not even giving the whole goddamn season. 60 games. Then KD can play my power forward and he'll be a plug and play. Especially if we kept Tibbs. What I mean by that is if we would have kept Tibbs, I'm like, yo, he don't run offenses. So you just kind of need to go out there and do your thing. KD would have been fine. KD would have found his role, his niche, and it scored. My thing is, how let's say we play Indiana. How does that change anything? And I think when Jalen was getting pressured 94 feet and he was just stumbling, looking foolish at this particular point in time, because he was just tired. He was tired. I was like, you can't do that with Kevin Durant on the court. Not because he can bring the ball up himself. No. You pass the ball to one person, pass the ball to the next person. You got KD going downhill, and he could be the third recipient, and you have who's guarding him at this particular point. They're on their back heels stumbling. He's going to eat that up. So he is a press breaker once he gets the ball. I'm like, yo, we could have used that, right? So I can see where the talks is with that. If you're telling me I got 2 years of the KD that I just saw this past season,
you only had to be number one option no more.
I take it.
He wasn't terrible.
You know what's interesting? There was a report that Phoenix is looking for a center. That they've been trying to get a center since they lost DeAndre Ayton. That plays into this as well. Hey, look, I agree with everything you said. I think you need to get another big if you're New York, just as a backup, because you don't want KD playing center. I mean, there's no.
No, he would not. He would not be playing center. So
I mean, there's no backup. So,
but that's the problem. Cat can play center. You know what I mean?
No, Cat cannot play center. That's the
problem.
He can
do.
I mean, in the East.
If you're in a pinch, he can do it against certain teams that go small.
But I mean,
KD can't.
Logically,
let me also say this, and this goes with the whole thing with I think management is pushing. Leon Rose and Dolan are pushing. This has nothing to do with Dolan. Let me take Dolan out because he's just letting Leon Rose do his thing. We have to. We are up against the cap to the point where we really can't bring in nobody else other than what we have.
And you ain't got no draft picks, right?
And we ain't got no draft picks. So the draft picks that we've been using. So
the pick this year.
We got like a second round pick or something like that. Okay. But when it comes to the draft picks of last year and the year before that, those guys I can name them, but y'all won't know. Those guys, you have to develop them. That's the problem. That's what Tiz wasn't doing. We actually have a center, a backup center that can play. He played like 20 seconds. he's not bad. But if you don't groom this dude, then he's going to look foolish. That's the thing. If we can homegrown, if we can nurture our own talent, just like OKC does, just like Indiana does, just like they are blueprints on how to run franchises. And I think New York, from what I've been hearing, they're starting to say, hey, we probably should do the exact same thing that they're doing. So we have backup center. We have one. We Mitchell Robinson and the Ariel Hawkporty. We good. KD will fit in at the 4 and be perfect at the 4. He will be the game changer that we need to go alongside Jalen Brunson. So 2 years, I'm okay. Anything past 2 years, hopefully Leon Rose can pull some more magic.
Look, I think if you're in the East, you got to go for it. Like, if you tell me your biggest competition next year is Indiana, and I don't think does anyone think this iteration of the New York Knicks with a new coach can beat Indiana next year?
No. If you're telling me that I have a free-flowing offense where as though everyone's touching the ball and it's smooth,
does that make Mikal and OG better offensive players?
Also, it will. Also, can Cat lose about 10 to 15 pounds so he can get back to lighter Cat, a little bit quicker on his feet so he can run up and down the damn court?
He got bad knees.
Boy, loosen weight, start running. It is what it is. That's what we need.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me I got to keep Cat, that's what Cat got to do. We got to have a free-flowing offense, man. Shit should be smooth.
So who do you think is the best in the East?
Me?
Next year?
Yeah.
Indiana.
I think we are.
You made it sound like it was someone other than Indiana. When I said, I told you had to worry about.
You talking about next year?
Yes.
Next year. Oh. See, I don't think it's complete yet because I think it's going to be some moves made.
I don't think anyone. I don't. Unless you're telling me KD and Giannis go to Toronto,
Detroit's going to take a step. I still like Cleveland. Cleveland's still right there. Like
Cleveland's right there.
They had health issues last year.
New York,
Detroit, Boston not going to be no slouch because Tatum ain't there.
I think they might tank the season.
I agree with that.
I don't know, man.
If they trade
Orlando.
JB,
if they lose a lot of people, maybe.
If they trade, I think they're debating trading JB.
They're coming off some of those salaries.
Yeah,
they are letting people go.
You can like that. You get rid of Jaylen Brown, you get a high draft pick, and all of a sudden you got Tatum, a young wing. You extend Porzingis, maybe see if he comes back, but you get off some of them salaries and become more viable. Getting players.
See. If Orlando's healthy, we'll see what they do.
They still need one more. They're KCP.
I mean, like I say, you don't know what's going to happen this offseason. We haven't touched on the draft. We haven't touched on anything.
We don't. And that's why New York is in a win now mode because let's say next year is still up for grabs. We can still grab that. After that, once Tatum's back, Giannis, another year or two, wherever Giannis is.
Yeah, I mean,
he want to stay in the East. Apparently,
we could do that in a couple of weeks. Make guesses on where everyone ends up.
We're not even knowing this finals yet. You talking about number one in the East? We don't know yet. We don't know.
No, I'm making an assumption based off Tatum being injured and Boston having to trade someone or make some type of move.
But I still think Boston has so many weapons at their height that losing him, if they get Porzingis back healthy at some point and they're able to transition into a feature JB type of game and Derek White is still Derek White and they can still be competitive.
They got a lot of money out there.
Competitive, man. I wouldn't sleep on them. That's all I'm saying. But speaking of Giannis, where do we see him going? Again, reports have been said that he possibly wants to stay in the Eastern Conference. I think I have my idea where he will be a best fit, but I don't know. Philadelphia, we don't know what's going to happen with Joel Embiid. Paul George, that was a funny story I was reading. Somebody wrote about the biggest trade that created the NBA Finals this year. The Thunder and the Pacers are both there, and all due to that Paul George trade. But anyway, where would be the best landing spot for Giannis? Let's be realistic. It's got to be a team that has assets. Probably be a 3-team trade. Where could he go, make a splash, and make a team a contender right now? Because he wants to be a contender. He ain't just going someplace just to play. He want to go someplace and make them a legit contender. What would be the best option, Calvin? What have you heard? What's your thoughts?
My first thought is San Antonio. You can package that number 2 pick. You can form a big three with him and Wemby. But if the rumors are true and he wants to stay in the East, I think another small market. I think Cleveland. If you do a him for Evan Mobley swap, maybe have to give him another asset. Milwaukee does not have any picks, so it makes no sense for them to tank. So you have to send talent back that can help them win right now. You can send Evan Mobley. You continue to build around him, continue to build his offensive game. Maybe he becomes a poor man's Giannis. Maybe when they get some cap space, some assets, they can build around him in Milwaukee. And now Giannis can continue to compete for titles in Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. So I think one of those two teams, but if it's in the East, I think Cleveland needs to go make a run.
What's your thoughts, Justin?
If you're telling me that he wants to stay in the East, that leaves 3 teams. New York, because he said he wants to play for Madison Square Garden, and the 2 Florida teams, Miami, Orlando. I think it's Miami. I think he would love to play for Miami. I don't think Miami can work it out for him. They will have to give up a lot of pieces to make the money work. So Orlando possibly, but if he comes out and say he wants to go play for the Knicks, then I'm gonna throw Brooklyn there. But if he said he wants to play for the Knicks,
why would he go to Brooklyn?
I'm just saying he wants to play in New
And
York.
don't discount Toronto. I heard Toronto.
I don't know if he wants to go up there and deal with the customs all the time like that.
The rumor is that him and KD talked about going to Toronto. I don't know how you can swing both of them.
Oh, then that's different.
But
I'm going to go with what the hell I was talking about, and let's get rid of Karl-Anthony Towns, to be honest. That would work out money-wise. Don't have to do too much for that.
So you
simple.
want KD and Giannis?
I don't need KD.
You want Giannis over KD, right?
Huh?
You would take Giannis over KD or KD over Giannis? Be honest.
Giannis over KD in a heartbeat.
Because
yeah, we good.
He fits more than what y'all would. I think y'all got shooters. I think.
Who?
What do you mean?
Brunson?
What else you need? According to
Justin, you said shoot. You said shooters. You said plural. Shooters.
Mikal Bridges can shoot. Don't do that.
Bridges can shoot. You got what's the other?
OG can shoot too. Don't do that. He can shoot. He put up 30. Anyway, you heard me. You heard from me. So
right,
either way, Karl-Anthony Towns can go.
We'll keep our eye on Giannis and see where he goes next year. That's an ongoing story. Let's move on to the Baltimore Orioles. They've been on a little streak here. Winners of 4 in a row, 7 out of the last 10. Nice little run for the O's trying to get back to things. We talked about this before. It's June. That was the earmark. Didn't I say June is when they start warming up? They won't, you know what I mean? The bats wake up in June. They had a tremendous June last year, and the June this year, winning games 1-0, or the pitching has been pretty solid. Winning some tight games. You got Cowser back. So some things are turning around. It's June. Calvin, what's the outlook? Orioles on the run.
Look, the pitching has been phenomenal the last 4 or 5 games. Oh, actually, I'll say since Memorial Day, the pitching has been phenomenal. The bats still have not woken up. Cowser came back. Westberg should be back by the end of the week. I think he's going to meet them in Sacramento, wherever the Athletics are playing, whatever part of California they're playing in. He should meet them out there towards the end of the week. They're getting a couple of your big bats back. Now you're getting the pitching that's starting to go with this. You can make a run in the wild card. I'm not gonna get too far ahead of myself, but I'm liking what I've seen from the pitching staff. You're still gonna have I think Bradish gonna come back in August. There's still no talk about Grayson at this point. I think you need to shut him down. He needs to get surgery at this point. But you're getting the pitching back. Hopefully the bats wake up. Holiday is still swinging a hot bat as well. Dare I say wild card? But let's just get above 500 first. Let's get above 500 and let's make sure that there are no major trades to be made prior to the trade deadline. I think you need to keep Cedric. You need to keep Cowser. I think you need to keep some of these young guys. Let's bring them all up and let's see what they can do. Let's see what happens when we put pressure on them. We need to win games to get in this wild card race. We're 3 games back with 10 to 12 to go. Can we make a run? This is what I want to see from this team starting here. It's starting to get June. Hopefully the bats wake up a little bit more. But for now, the pitching's been carrying them the last week and a half or so.
What you think, Justin?
I want to say that I'm graciously optimistic, but Man, we got a long way to go uphill, man. But like you said, sometimes all the cliches, let's use them all. Take it one day at a time, one game at a time, one inning at a time.
One pitch.
You know what I mean? That's what we got to do, man, because we are so far behind the 8-ball, guys. It's just it's sad. But hey, if you're going to lose, it's best to do it while in April and May, right? So hey,
ain't getting no worse.
You always can go up. I think Detroit did it last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not over. We just don't have the great pitching. I think our pitchers are doing well. We just don't have great pitching. So when you don't have great pitching, then it's kind of like, let's cross our fingers. So clearly that people want to go see them play. That's the thing about them. They are a joyous team to watch at times. We got a lot of young talent and stuff. So, especially, when you got grown men, go take your ladies out, go to the ballpark and just watch a game, and watch them come up on this upswing that they on right now.
They've been on a road trip. Take
advantage of the upswing that they're on right now. So, my fingers are crossed, and I hope they do well. I hope they continue to do well. I hope the young boys still continue to do well. I'm looking at Kjerstad, just making sure that young boy, he ain't nothing. He's 26, but hopefully he don't get traded. Hopefully he can turn things around. He had a solid game last night. Let's see if he can continue.
Same time that he better do something.
Damn right.
Yeah, man. I love Holiday. I want Gunnar to be just a little bit better. I need him to go back to MVP Gunnar. He's not there yet, but he's getting there. Yeah, man. It's just it's not there, but it's optimistic. That's the vibe. It's like, hey, so you saying it's a shot? Like,
so you're saying
all right.
Hey, we talked about this. We
see how far this goes.
We talked about this a few weeks ago. These are the things they need to do. They're baby stepping it. Again, winners of 7 of the last 10 games. That's not a bad stretch. You put a couple good weeks together. It can work wonders on your morale. Ticket sales are down right now. I think our attendance is one of the lowest in the league, which is not good, coming off of the success we've been having. But I think as it warms up, school's out, coming up here soon, people are going to start going back to the yard. I think that the ticket sales back up.
Later start times too, so that'll help you when you're getting off work trying to get down to the yard.
The game's been starting at like 6:30.
They changed that they changed that a couple years ago. So during the school year, weekday games start at 6:30.
Okay,
and then
this is my first time in a while.
So when school ends, it'll be 7:30 starts during the weekdays.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I was wondering what the hell was going on, but anyway, I didn't want to sound dumb, so I didn't ever ask anybody. But yeah, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'm like, when they start, because games just be like 7:05, 7:10. Now all of a sudden, I'm like, well, I gotta hurry up from work 6:50. That's too quick. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. We'll keep our eye on tracking these O's. Again, they out in I think they're in Seattle.
Tonight, tomorrow afternoon, I think. And then they go to where's the Athletics playing?
Oakland?
No, it ain't Oakland.
Are they moving Oakland?
They're moving to Vegas, so they're playing somewhere else the next 2 years. I think it's Sacramento. I think that's where it is.
All right, we'll keep an eye out on that. Let's move to the world of professional wrestling. So a big story came out.
Sacramento.
Okay. Big story came out this past week on Sunday. R-Truth posted on his social media that he would his contract was not being renewed, is basically the clarification we received later, but that he's been let go from WWE after years being with the company. Huge shock came across the world, as even though R-Truth isn't like a main eventer or anything like that, he is a beloved figure in the wrestling world. Fans love laughing. Truth always make you smile, always keep you entertained in some type of way. So this really hit a lot of people, social media, people posting this is nuts. That's one of those guys you always keep around just to have on the roster, yada, yada, yada. Then we found out a day later that Carlito, who had just returned to the company a few years ago, has been a member of the Judgment Day, who was with WWE years ago and left, and he came back 15 years later. his contract is not being renewed, and that's been happening a lot more with greater regularity. Veterans who haven't been getting that great use like they used to. TKO, ever since they bought WWE, they've been more of a contract cutting mode, getting rid of these contracts that maybe you would think they would probably just offer them less money to stick around. But because you hire so many young talent, bringing them in from NXT, call them up to the main roster, you call up people, you got to get rid of people. It's just like any NFL team, any NBA team. But the thing with pro wrestling is fake. So people assume, hey, you can keep these guys as long as you want to. Put them on the Legends deal. Keep them around for cameos with stuff of that nature. So it comes off as cold-hearted and callous when you get rid of a guy like an R-Truth, who was just featured on Saturday Night Main Event a couple weeks ago in a match with John Cena. Many people feel like they knew his contract was coming to a close, wanted to give him a one last swan song to send him off right. A lot of people are frustrated, but I understand the business end of it. But when you're making billions of dollars in TKO, you can't afford to pay the guy the money. So it's a catch-22, double-edged sword. Justin, I'll start with you. What was your thoughts when you heard R-Truth was not being renewed by WWE, was being let go?
Well, we talked about this when we talked combats, and we was pretty much live when it was happening, like pretty much like the next day. And it's been now a few days after that, and it's still. I thought it was like a work at first. I'm like, are they working? And it's not serious. It's not a serious thing. But then once you started saying it, then everyone started to agree to it, and then you got Road Dogg making tweets, and then something he got to delete his tweet because Triple H probably saw it and told him to delete it. His merchandise got pulled from it, so you can't even buy the Ron Cena shirt. Like it's you wish things were different, and you wonder if they don't realize locker room guys and the importance of it, because this is not professional sports. This is not the Boston Celtics where you get rid of a Marcus Smart and you win a championship the next year. There's no championships to win here. There's the performance of the locker room might take a hit because the morale is gone. Like, you can't keep getting rid of guys like that. I'm going to focus on R-Truth and not Carlito, because Carlito got paid a lot of money to eat a damn apple and play the video game. So not the same vibe, right? Not the same vibe. But R-Truth was that guy. He was a locker room favorite. And for you to tell everybody not to wear his no shirts enough. I know Red came to the building with a Truth shirt. Next thing you know, she took it off. Like, so clearly someone told her to take it off. I understand the business behind it. Why am I paying you this much money when I can bring in 5 guys from NXT to make up for it? And then hopefully one of those guys spark, although some of them can't speak English. Somebody gonna make it, right? That kind of a thing. And let's just roll the dice on that. But I would love to see what contract he was offered, because I know that they offered him something else and he said no to that. That's the detail in which I'm missing. And I wish that I knew that. So then I'd be like, well, shit, they still offered you a couple million. You just chose not to. You went from 5 to 3. Probably should have took 3. I can't say that right now. So it's tough. And like I said, when you're looking for people that look like you to kind of maintain their stay in WWE, and they get rid of someone like that, it's just like, well, shit, you get rid of R-Truth, and then Carmelo take a dive and lose in the Money in the Bank joint. So I don't know what they're gonna do with him and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, we got the tag team titles on both franchises, but it ain't it. So we're searching and we're looking for something to hold on to, and they keep pushing things back, and it's sometimes it's hard to watch.
Calvin?
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious as to just to know what the contract was, what was turned down, because I did hear the same thing, that the contract was offered and they just turned down, and then his contract ran out, and then he decided to leave. I did also think that it was a work of some kind. I want to applaud Cena as well, because I'm getting the impression that he knew about this, that this was coming, and that's one of the reasons that he gave him opportunity on Saturday Night Main Event a couple weeks ago. And if that was the case, then just another something else the scene has done to give back to professional wrestling, in my opinion. I'll just give the people one more chance to see him. The match aside, just happy to see him out there one more time. I understand the business aspect of it. I also remember when TKO first took over and Triple H came out on Monday Night Raw and said, nothing's changing. We're still going to run the business the way it needs to be run. And we've slowly seen that kind of change as the numbers started to change, as the numbers started to come out, as pay-per-view sales and ticket prices have gone up, as events and WrestleMania specifically has been moved from one location to another for financial gain. So we see it at the end of the day, it's about the almighty dollar, and that's what it's coming down to. And you're taking away from some of the nostalgia, some of the fun out of professional wrestling. So I'm disappointed in the move. Just anxious to see what's next, but I don't think this is the last move. We've seen Braun Strowman being released this year. We've seen a number of stars been released this year. I don't see why it would stop. I mean, there was AJ Styles rumors as well, so I'm disappointed, but I don't know what to say.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm too in the weeds of the business, so my brain will always be more of a business minded, and I get it. It doesn't move the needle for me. I mean, not that I don't like Truth, great guy, you know what I mean, hilarious, funny. It just doesn't move the needle for me because it's not like he won't be back. Truth will be back. I mean, look, he's going to go to TNA, who is a partner of WWE, or AEW if they do pick him up or whatever like that. But most of them, generally, he probably will chill at home. They'll call him back for a special appearance here or there. They'll offer him a little Legends deal. He'll be back again. The man was offered a contract. He turned it down. I think, and rightfully so. If he didn't want to take that pay cut that they offered him, is it on them to offer him more money? Maybe. Or they can wait him out. But I think what will happen is, because remember, his name is Ron Killings. He was in TNA first and made a name for himself. They partner with TNA. They do NXT stuff with TNA all the time. He can go to TNA, have a little 6-month run there, and guess where he'll be? A Royal Rumble participant showing up. Oh, Truth is back up there. You know what I mean? Like it's just the way the business has gone, and I think it's for the better. I know people don't like to hear that, but I'm not into the old guys. I don't need to see the same Miz, or because I heard he might be on the chopping block. I don't need to see the Miz again. I don't need to see, like, he could take a break, go away for a while, let me miss you a while, and then you can come back. And, the Miz is back. Look, we talking about Carlito here on the right. Carlito was gone for like 10 years. Came back, got another run. Like, they have so much great young talent that they're nurturing and bringing up, or they brung in from other organizations, New Japan, AEW. You can't have a roster spot for everybody, especially guys that you just using in backstage skits and stuff like that. That's why the show get dry. It get tiring. It feel like you've seen the same guys on TV all the time. Bring me some fresh blood. Like they just signed Mariah May from AEW. Great. Bring her in. I don't need to see Natalya. I don't need to see the same wrestlers I've been seeing for 20 years. Like, Natalya can be a coach. Natalya can go wrestle in TNA and come back in 10 years. I have no problem with that mentality because the business is better for it. When I was young, you had guys who would jump from WWE, go to WCW. They might go to ECW. They might go to different territories and they'll come back around. Everybody don't need to be in one place for 20 straight years and you just get tired of them. Like, that's not the way this business was built. If you go back to the territory days, you might be in Crockett Promotions one week, might be in WWF another, might go to the AWA. You might go, like, that's how the business was supposed to be. Might do a run in St. Louis, might go do a run in Florida, might go do a run in New York, go to Tampa for a little bit. It was different territories. Go to Dallas. It kept you fresh. And it kept the fans entertained because, you had your mainstays who were the super big stars who were always there. But those other guys, you move around. So you don't get tired of seeing Randy Orton with the same shtick all the time because Randy not every week. He keeps himself fresh. But if I got to see New Day do the same act every week. Eventually, they're gonna say the New Day is boring. If I gotta see Miz go out there and tell me how many times he's been Intercontinental Champion every week and the same shtick over and over and over, people are gonna turn on that. How about if he goes away for a little bit, come back? Oh, it's the Miz. Oh, he's a star. That's what the wrestling business need more of. And I think I get the representation part, but you got some great black stars coming up in NXT.
NXT.
They would actually clear the room for them on the main roster and bring them in. Obafemi should be a main eventer right now on the main roster. Trick should be a main eventer right now on the main roster. But you got it so clogged up with all these other people, you're never going to have for them.
You got 2 3-hour damn shows, and it is not being filled with the talent that they have now.
I agree.
All that you said,
That's a good
I'm
Oh,
point.
still not saying it. It shows are still boring, and they're not using who they got now. So
I think
how
they
am I-
use it, but
how
they
am I supposed to believe that
people.
if I get rid of an R-Truth or whatever the case may be, just for those small segments that he was a part of, that you're going to bring up an Obi? I doubt it. Trick might be in a Trick bag by winning the TNA belt. I might not see Trick in WWE for the next 5 years.
I think
He should already be up here.
I agree he should already be
Yeah.
up there. But when you pan these other guys, Trick is getting NXT money. If you clear out some of these other contracts, maybe he can get a big time main roster contract.
That's a huge maybe.
In theory,
You
this
trust
problem.
him. In theory, you trust
I
the
don't
Triple H
need
to make
to
a good
see.
decision.
I don't need to see Austin Theory. I don't need to see Grayson Waller. I don't need to see The Miz. I don't need to see a Baron Corbin and these guys that the same body type and the same type
All right,
of
Baron Corbin.
boring. You know what I mean? Those type of guys.
Just wanted to
Clear
do
them
that.
out and bring in some new, fresh people. Like if you're gonna do this thing, do it right. That's all I'm saying. I'm just.
It's that do it
nothing
right part,
against-
and I don't think that they have the
Nothing
intellectual,
against
creative
R-Truth.
ability to do it.
But they've let go a lot of people over the last few months. I know Truth is the one we talked about right now, but go look at the list of people they've
Yeah,
cut.
they really go
Yeah.
quite a few
Like-
people.
And a lot of them, I didn't have no issue with it. Like, okay, all right,
You
thanks.
see Lash Legend get called up? No.
But I think Lash Legend wasn't used as a main eventer or a singles competitor in NXT. She was a
then-
tag team person.
So they got rid of her tag team partner. What
So now she should be getting used as a single, and then we move it, and then we move on
She
from
already
there.
proved herself by messing with the Bianca and all that. She already proved that she can carry her weight.
Agreed. I think that's the point. You should now try to feature her as a single, right?
I don't see her.
I don't watch NXT, so I just check in on these type of things. I'm just saying the only way to clear room for TV time for certain of these people is to get rid of some of these guys that because you're paying them so much money, you have to justify that by putting them on TV. And all these guys don't need TV time. It's just not adding an extra dollar to the bottom line.
You're right. The War Raiders do not need to be on TV.
But as a tag team, they serve a purpose.
No,
I
they
think
don't.
they do. They not like
That whole
in
division
the-
doesn't serve a purpose.
they have no.
Not right now.
No. I think it's some great wrestlers in that division. It's again what you put.
They're just not
in
entertainment.
The Creed brothers?
The Creeds are great.
Oh Lord.
Did you watch the Creeds in NXT?
Nah,
Again,
I've been watching
take
the last 6
handcuffs
months.
off, baby.
I've
Take
been
the
watching for the
handcuffs
last 6
off.
months.
That's booking. That's
They're
booking.
boring.
You put them in there with the New Day, who are long in the tooth, who really look at the SmackDown tag team division. Man, action packed.
I didn't bring up the SmackDown.
I'm just saying, you could do the same thing if you mix the teams correctly on Raw and SmackDown. You could put a hell of a division together with the talent they got.
I think it should be one tag team title.
I agree. It always should
agree.
be.
Let them go
It
back and
always
forth.
should be.
Gotta go
It
back
should
and
be
forth.
one Intercontinental title, go back and forth. I think they can get away with 2 world titles, but I have no problem with one tag team title like you do for the women. But I'm just saying that I think the R-Truth point is about nostalgia. Great guy.
Yeah.
Not taking nothing away from the guy. And I think he'll go into the Hall of Fame. He'll get another run. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I just think it came as a shock because people didn't see it coming. He was just on Saturday Night Main Event. Why wouldn't you continue that? So anyway, this Saturday, I think it's Saturday, right?
Mhm.
The 7th.
Yeah, WWE Money in the Bank will emanate from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California, the new dome out there where the Clippers play. Probably a big show. The main event will be I don't know what they're going to do for the main event. That's why I started here. So it's called Money in Bank. Let's start with the Money in Bank match. So the 6 competitors will be Grande Americano, Seth Rollins, Solo Sikoa, Pentagon, and Andrade. These are the 6 guys. His name is Pentagon. But it will be very interesting to see which direction they go. I think the obvious choice would be Seth Rollins. And I think sometimes when things are obvious, you just go with the obvious. I think Seth makes sense. I think he's held that briefcase before, cashed it in, probably the greatest cash in of all time
at WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania. And I think because he could make his pick, he can go to SmackDown and take and cash in against who the hell is John Cena. He could do that if he wanted to. He could cash in against Jey Uso. He can even tease the cash in against John Cena just to do a little tease or whatever. But I think ultimately we know Seth at some point has to take that title, the world title, on Raw, and he and CM Punk still have unfinished business. He and Roman Reigns still have unfinished business. There's still matches to be made, and eventually him and Braun Breaker will be a title match for that title down the line. I think he makes the most sense. Calvin, who's your pick for this play?
Like you said, when something makes the most sense, you go with it. But I'm not going to go with what you said. I'm going to go with Solo. I'm interested to see the direction because I didn't even think he was going to be in the Money in the Bank match initially. But I'm interested to see the push that he gets because I was expecting this feud with Fatu. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm wondering what's the direction for him. So I'm gonna just peel slightly off of your Rollins pick. I do think it's Rollins, but I think Solo has a case to be made because of what he's been doing with Fatu, and I think the possibility is there. I don't think it's the number one thing that's going to happen, but I can see that happening. So I would say Solo just off of what can be built up after they just kind of they just built it down for the last 6 to 9 months. But I'm gonna go with Solo.
Justin, what's your thought?
Great. Solo is not going to win. I think it's Seth to win, and I think that makes for great TV. He has to continue his storyline, and I think that's a great way to continue his storyline. I think the ultimate goal here is for someone to screw him in the worst possible moment, pause, when he's cashing in that title. Let's say it's Jay. I'm cashing it in. I'm here. Ding, ding, ding. And then Roman comes out. And Jay covers him.
He cashes in 2-3 months.
Whenever Roman is slated to come out or come back, whenever that time period is, let Jey Uso still have that title. Seth gets in, about to do it. Roman stops him, but the bell's been rang. The match has started. Jey Uso covers him. Roman saves his bloodline brother, and Seth fails at his precious Money in the Bank moment. That's great.
I mean, it's continuation because what we saw a couple months ago with the cage match with Punk and Rollins,
it's great TV.
And Roman came out and actually helped Seth by accident by pulling him out the cage. So it would play off of that moment as well. I agree. The next match really has been advertised as the main event of the show. John Cena will team with Logan Paul to take on Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. I'm not feeling this at all. I'm not feeling the John Cena heel run. Nothing about it makes me entertained about John Cena as a heel. I think that this was a misstep. I think Rock really threw them a monkey wrench when he did not put himself in the storyline. And his whole disappearance in WWE has really hurt John Cena's run. Cody, I think he kind of doesn't have the full stink on him, but I think this has not been good for him. I think coming back the way he did at Saturday Main Event and then just issuing the tag title match the way they did with no rhyme or reason really didn't do him no wonders. The rating for SmackDown on Friday was trash. That means fans weren't interested. People are into this feud. And Jey Uso, who is the world champion, to me, he's overshadowed. He's a second fiddle here. And to me, I don't see how this helps anybody and what does it build to other than a rematch between Cody and John Cena, which was already inevitable. There is already a match on the books between Gunther and Jey Uso. So if anything, Gunther should have teamed with John Cena and then you do the tag team match where these 4 men who are actually both vying for the world titles are going against each other. Makes way more sense logically, but to me, this does not tickle any of my sensory feelings for making this anything I want to see. So I'm not looking forward to this match at all. Calvin, your thoughts?
I completely agree. I'm not really looking forward to it. My first thought was, do you think Cena takes the pin? Do you think this is start? You don't think so? It's no title on the line. It's nothing for him to gain.
That's what Logan Paul's there for. That's what Logan's there for.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm gonna say this: the way the story that I've been playing here lately, they trying to weaken Jay. Remember, Jay is facing Gunther on Raw next week for the world title.
You don't think you're gonna lose?
I think Jay might lose.
On Monday?
I think Jay might lose on Raw. He's been getting his ass whooped on every show. If you've been watching, he's been getting his ass whooped on every show. He got his ass whooped again on Monday. If the story they're telling is he's going to be so weak and beat down going into his match with Gunther on Monday, and once again he'll overcome it and beat Gunther again, choke him out maybe again. I don't know, but I think he might very well. Gunther might come out and contribute to this, but I think Jay might get pinned again. Justin, your thoughts on this match?
If Jay loses this match, then he's definitely winning the next night.
That's
as simple as that. If he loses Money in the Bank, he's definitely winning against Gunther. He's winning regardless. I just think the Logan Paul angle should be a nice monkey wrench in the Gunther storyline. I like to see all 3 of them have somewhat of feud and just buy time for Seth. Just buy a little bit of time. I like Logan Paul. He plays the heel card to a T. He's a perfect heel. He has great crowd work. Phenomenal athlete inside the ring. So I like to see him go back and forth with Jay. He's a terrible talker. So you need someone to kind of talk around him. You need someone to keep that going in a sense. Facts. So that's what Logan Paul is about. So I like that. But for this particular match, I got Cody doing some type of phenomenal Cody thing in which I can't stand, and he'll pin Logan Paul some kind of way.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. I know this is a hot take, but it's not really a hot take because I think other people might feel this way too. Jay not doing it for me. I mean, the interest is great.
That's about it.
I love the energy he brings with the crowd. As a fan, if I was a young fan trust me, I was that guy when I was a kid and Hulk Hogan was coming out the Real American. After the match, he would do the pose and all that. That was part of the presentation. That why we loved Hulk. You know what I mean? As a kid, not y'all. I'm talking about me. That made me like a big fan because it was like dun, 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 dun. So I get that music can add to the presentation of why someone's over. But Jay doesn't have that charisma on the mic.
Let me say
this. And then his ring work don't back it up either.
One, he's finally getting in shape. That's one.
Yeah, he'd be flabby, buddy.
He was flabby.
Yeah.
2, I said Jimmy should just stay with his brother.
Jimmy was
way
the better talker.
The talker.
He was better talker.
If you watch the clips of them coming up to the ring,
Jimmy was going to be the man.
It was Jimmy. So
Jimmy couldn't stay out of trouble. Keep getting them DUIs. Remember, Jimmy was the chosen one. That's why they turned him into main event Jey Uso and gave him the name main event because they tried to differentiate him because brother couldn't stay out of trouble.
If he says I'm just fully with Jay, and they let
him cut
Jimmy go for the IC or something like that. Mm-hmm. Perfectly fine. You don't have to do the tag team thing.
Yeah,
you can still be
a second. Still got him out there as one.
Yeah, and just let him flow. That's where Jay was honestly at his best, ad-libbing with Jay,
with the bloodline,
with Jimmy. Mm-hmm. So
I agree.
Yeah. So what you're saying, I agree with. He's okay.
He's missing it. He's missing. I agree with you. He need to get in shape. And the part of the issue is if you watch him, I'm gonna tell you part of the problem. that damn entrance, man. When he comes
That
down,
way out.
he
That way
gets
Yeah.
out.
winded. He gets
Yeah.
winded. So when he gets in the ring, he try to get his breath, and then they give him the what treatment or the yeet. They call it the yeet treatment. Now he'll say something, yeet, yeet. That is the most annoying cadence in all of wrestling, and you can't put a good promo together that way.
It's just one of many in the past.
It's Steve Austin ruined wrestling. He ruined wrestling. He ruined wrestling.
It's
And
great.
again, but he plays, you can over talk it and they will stop. I've been in crowds where it's happened, where if you just keep going, okay, we shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
Like,
don't
but he
give him a
play
chance.
into it. He play into it. And
Oh,
then his move set is just weak.
But
Like I say, he needs to integrate more
he
moves
plays
into
into
his
the
arsenal.
yeet as if he's ad-libbing with his brother. It's a something. Yeet.
Yeet.
You can't see me. Yeet. And it just it's like his brother is dead. That's why I said just add him.
Great point. Remember
Adam.
when they got over because they was the Usos regardless, but when they welcome to the Uso Penitentiary back in the day,
when they went hood.
they went hood. Tell the truth. That's what it was. Because you remember, people don't know their mother's black. So it's like they have black in them. It's not like they are just, not part of the culture. And they married to black women. Both of them are. Like Solo married to a black woman. So I get they got black kids. I get that they feel connected to the culture. I don't have no issue with that. But I think Jacob Fatu, how y'all feel about Jacob Fatu? Let's be honest. Some of his rhetoric, how he talks. What you think? You like it, Justin?
If he was just talking and I didn't see his face, I would assume that that's a Negro.
I think that's the point.
But this is the point I try to make to people. And I really think WWE management treats these Usos and these Tongans and these Samoans like they black people. I think they put them in the same category as, because The Rock is half black, you know what I mean? So they like, well, Roman Reigns is half, like, he got some black in him somewhere. That's how they think about it. So that's why they don't push all these black guys, because they like, well, I mean, we got black guys all up and down the roster with these Samoans. Why we need more of them? They're not purely white. You know what I mean? So when people say it's not enough black, we talking about African American. You know what I mean? Like, R-Truth is considered more of African American star. He's not a Samoan, half this, half that, da da da. So I think that's where that representation dichotomy.
You sure that mother black? You sure that mother black?
Well, that's what they say years ago. You seen her?
I'm trying to make it out, but we call them tethers.
Because Rikishi, I think is half.
He's Samoan. He's full.
Yeah,
Samoan.
he's full Samoan, but I know he married a black woman. Now I don't know if that's the boy's mother. Maybe she raised him. Let me see.
But yeah, we call them tethers. That's if you ever hear somebody calling somebody a tether, that's what that is. It's all right. So if you can't get this reference that Larry just made out, baseball, they brought in a whole bunch of Dominicans and things like that, and they say like, oh, we're still, we're colored. We're still reaching out to the black community. No, you brought people in that's supposed to look like us, but it's not us. So that's why they're tethering on. If you remember the movie Us, from Jordan Poole, they look like us, but they not us. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. So they definitely went with that. So when Triple H gets those questions of, well, I think that you might be a racist and things like that, those R words and stuff, and then he can say, well, I got the whole Samoans. Roman is the face of the company. We got them. We got the tag teams are by American black.
And then you got all the Japanese, and
then they got a Japanese with a woman title and things like that.
They got everybody. You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing. They try to be more global, not just one thing now. But again, in the history of wrestling, it was mostly white, and then you have a few tokens. You know what I mean? So we never had no super black representation. Let's be real. Let's. I'm a wrestling fan. When I was growing up, and Ron Simmons pinned Big Van Vader at the Baltimore Arena, we was going crazy. It was
and what did WWE do?
Yeah.
Turn into a damn gladiator. shout out to King. Yeah, he brought that up last on Sunday.
Saying,
man,
like,
we talk combats. Yeah, it just made him. And shout out to Farouk for changing that.
Yeah,
to the freaking Nation of Domination.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But Ahmed Johnson was the guy. Like, we didn't have another guy like that. Name the other big dark-skinned black guy who was positioned like Ahmed Johnson before Ahmed in the 90s.
Before he was slightly retarded. I shouldn't say the R word.
I'm just saying,
before he
thought
was a little slow.
Got out of shape.
Go back
Started
to
eating
those
too
90
much.
shows, man. We didn't have that type of rapid representation.
We didn't.
Bad News Brown in the 80s. You know, you had Virgil. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
we're not even bringing up
Virgil.
We're not even bringing up Virgil as the $1 million man flunky.
The hell?
For years.
JYD was like the biggest star we had, and he wasn't treated at anywhere that level.
We had the pre-Jey Uso. Coco Beware.
Oh, yeah, come on. Coco was a curtain jerker. That's what I'm saying. Like, people, if you really want to look at wrestling and WWF specifically, of course, I can go throughout the country of wrestling, of course, with some black stars throughout. But if you go back, JYD, when he came to WWF in '88 and he was rubbing elbows as a tag team partner with Hogan and stuff like that, that was huge for us. You know what I mean? When Ron Simmons, like I said, pimped Big Van Vader and became the first black heavyweight champion ever, I mean, I cried, man. We was down in Civic Center when it happened. Like, bruh, are you serious? Like a black man? So later on, when The Rock won, of course, we saw this guy out there acting like he was a Cherokee or something. I thought he was Indian. I didn't know he was black. You know what I mean? At first, remember, it was like remember he had the all blue with the feathers and all that. Like, ain't no black man. And then later he came out as black. Like, oh, he is black because he Rocky Johnson's son.
Yeah, he was black in February.
And then all of a sudden, when the Nation came out, it was okay to be black. It was cool to be black. You know what I mean? So again,
which is why we feel so wrong about R-Truth. We ain't got that many.
We don't have the many, but to me, I don't think R-Truth is the guy to throw the
saying he wasn't relevant enough.
No, I'm not saying relevant. He's not a main eventer. He's not. I think R-Truth represents.
He never was though.
No. R-Truth was a serious performer in TNA. He became
in WWE.
In WWE, he was serious until they did that thing with John Cena. Remember, he was a tag team partner with him and Miz. Remember, and then he snapped.
Yeah, awesome truth.
Yeah, and then remember, it was something like he hit his head or something. I can't remember what Vince did, something stupid. And all of a sudden, he became a joke. Lil Jimmy, remember Lil Jimmy? And he was talking about he had his little imaginary friend.
He was talking to Lil Jimmy when he fought JC Mateo.
That's the problem. So I look at R-Truth like a minstrel show, like, you know what I mean, like buckwheat or something like that, like they was making a joke out of it. So I don't look at it with that same like, oh, it's just R-Truth. He can go.
I hear you.
He can go. You know what I mean? I need better representation of that. Like, give me a serious guy like Obafemi. Call him up. Call Trick up. Call some of these beasts up. You know what I mean? Like this boy Jasper Troy, who gonna face Obafemi next week on NXT. I saw him on LSG. He's the truth.
No,
I'm telling you.
Callie Armstrong is the truth.
Yeah.
She was from Evolve.
Yeah, but check out Tyra May Steele. She debuting on NXT next week. She won LFG. And she's an Olympic gold medalist, like the first woman Olympic gold medalist they've ever had. So I'm looking forward to her. She a black woman. She tough. So those are the type of things I love to see them involved into and really make this thing, spring this thing forward where we not just present it as one thing, like a joke or, shucking and jiving and stuff like that. I don't need to be that. Anyway, I know we spent a lot of time on that. Women's Money in the Bank. You got Stephanie Valkyria. Good God. They've done a great job with her. I'm glad they called her up. She got one of the best moves in all of wrestling when she do that little head drop onto the mat over and over.
What's a finisher?
I don't know about the finisher.
Exactly.
But when she dropped them cheeks, like, I love that. Then you got I think this is a good array of talent. Alexa Bliss is coming back. We'll see what she's able to do. Hey, baby. Then you got Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley. Lord, who's this other chick here? Julia and
Naomi.
Naomi looks strange right there. That's all like, who is that? Anyway, and Naomi, man, give Naomi credit. Give Naomi credit. She been playing the hell out of her role. I don't care what nobody say. Ever since she turned heel, this whole Jade Cargill feud has been tremendous. She's an example of a veteran who, unlike some of these other veterans I've talked about earlier, no, you don't cut a Naomi. You know why? Because she actually invested in a new character for herself, has actually put her whole self into it, reinvented herself. She married to the Usos, she ain't going nowhere. And then, like, she really has put her all into, not like a Natalya who's done the same act for 20 years or somebody like that, where we've seen it. You've seen it. You can't really excite me by seeing another Natalya match. But Naomi, shout out to her. I wouldn't even be shocked. Nah, she ain't winning. But who you got?
Who you got?
Me, honestly, purposely, for this type of thing, I think you go with Stephanie. I think Stephanie can be a superstar. I go with Stephanie. What's your thoughts, Calvin?
I agree with you, but I just don't. I don't know what her potential can be.
Oh, she got a lot, man. She got a lot.
She's a great wrestler. Just need a new finisher.
With the little back, I like when she do it on the knee with the whole back though. Yeah, sometimes she drop them on like different parts.
She gonna do that to Nia Jax?
Hell no.
That's what I'm going to
okay.
So what's the plan for her winning? That's the only thing I can't see.
What you mean? She could go against anybody. Liv. She could
she already eyed down Rhea, so
yeah.
I mean she got the rocket.
So
she got the rocket behind her.
I mean, I'm just but I mean she still got to go back through Rhea, in my opinion, because we know that's the.
But then you're gonna deal with everybody saying you let Rhea win again.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think she's gonna win. I'm just saying eventually Stephanie's got to go back through Rhea with the briefcase.
But I don't think Rhea needs to win on Money in the Bank. You know what I mean?
I don't think she needs to be in the Money in the Bank, honestly. But
I think they want star power.
They say they need star power in this match. You ain't got Bianca or something like that, so you need something.
Yeah. Who you got, Justin?
I got Naomi, man.
I wouldn't mind.
Let's ride this out. You got to ride this out.
And she could talk trash with Jade and them.
You got to ride it out. I can see her putting caution tape around the briefcase. When you got to reward people that find great characters. Triple H didn't do this for her. I'm quite sure he didn't. I think this is all Naomi.
I don't think
she took Naomi. That. I think she took that storyline and they said, "What can you do with it?" And then she said, "Watch me."
I have it on good authority. It's not all Naomi.
So what they say? You should go crazy, put razor blades in your hair.
Paul Heyman involved with this. And you know that he got the Uso connection. But yeah, this was something that they talked about doing. Remember, this is part of a bigger deal. Bianca is turning heel. That's still coming. Like that interview last week when they was in the ring together, and it kind of foreshadowed it. Like Bianca still was behind the Naomi attack on Jade. That's still going to come out. So I'm interested. I think what slowed it down was Bianca got hurt, her thumb or whatever it was. So they had to kind of drag it, her finger. So they had to drag it out. Or this would already be building towards that Evolution pay-per-view. I think the main event would have been Bianca, not main event, but one of the big matches, Bianca Jade on that all women's pay-per-view that's coming up. Mm-hmm. They might still get there. We'll see if they're able to pull the trigger this weekend.
That's this month though, right?
Yeah, it's a couple weeks. No, it's July the 11th. It's the same week as AEW All In.
There's something else right before that too.
Yeah, Saturday night main event.
There you go, Saturday night main event.
Evolution, and then they got another show. It's like 3 shows in one day or 2 days. I mean, they trying to take down AEW. They going head to head on all their show weekends. I think they trying to be some bullies, but it is what it is. We'll see. But yeah, I like that pick. That's not a bad pick. I think the women in WWE have been actually pretty entertaining. far as the storylines and the options they presented.
Women
Julia,
better wrestlers too.
yeah, don't sleep on Julia. She's really good, really good. Again, and we haven't even talked about Kyrie saying, "Hold up, the champion is Io Scott."
Io.
Yeah.
Yeah, Io and Stephanie. Oh my God, that would be great. That would be tremendous. I'm talking like Liv would be the champion. Yeah. Io's great. Yeah. Next up, Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. You know, these two they good friends. They've had some good chemistry. Their first two matches were great. If Becky loses, she can't challenge for this title again, which almost guarantees, I think, Becky winning this title. And I think that's great because think about all the women we just talked about. If you make this secondary title just as important, now you can do even more bigger matches that don't necessarily have to be for the women's world title on Raw. Now you got that secondary title that's popping. I think they need to do the same thing with the United States women's title on SmackDown instead of putting it on what's her name? The girl
Zelina, no one cares, Vega.
Yeah, get it off of her. Put it on.
Well, they waiting for Julia. They waiting for Julia to get it.
Oh yeah, put it on somebody like that, or Bianca. Put that on Trinity. I mean, on Naomi or something like that, and then she can have a good feud on the lower end. But we're using women with big names against some of these lesser known talent to give them more of a highlight. I think
also making the titles relevant.
Yeah, that's what makes it relevant. Yeah. I think people
like a hierarchy.
People mix that up. The title don't always make the person. Sometimes the person makes the title. If right now you put the Intercontinental title on Roman Reigns, guess what's going to be one of the most important titles in WWE right now? Whatever title Roman got. It's the same thing when you had a title on. You had the WWE title on SmackDown. I mean, on Raw. You had the World Heavyweight Universal title on SmackDown. Nobody never heard of no Universal title. Roman was carrying it. It was the most important title. That's all that matters. Like right now, they done a great job making the titles somewhat even. But Jay is still not John Cena. I don't care what you say. We can talk about how Jay is the champion, but John Cena's title gets the
name. They did that from, that's like you said, the person. Roman had that title. And then Cody took it off of Roman, and then Cena took it off of him. So that still carries Roman's
that lineage
weight in a sense. In a sense. So the other one, no, that was like Seth title.
It was a newly created title.
And it's
something that made it important.
I should get it.
Yeah. But if you put that title on Roman right now, or CM Punk,
he'll switch it.
Yeah, that's my point. So the same thing you can do right here with Becky. Becky win this title, you can continue this feud. I think it's fine. Justin?
Nah. Who gonna win? Yeah, Becky. I'm 100% agreeing with y'all. Everything you said. Correct.
Yeah, I think that works. All right. So that's our show for tonight, guys. Before we get out of here, any final thoughts? We got a lot going on next couple of days as far as NBA Finals starts on Thursday night. It's going to be interesting to see, how the teams come out strong in game one. Will OKC just come out and blow Indiana out, or will it be close? Will it come down to the wire? We've seen a lot of close games with the Pacers. We've seen some close games with the Thunder. Again, I will hold my hat to that. Y'all know I like Denver. I picked Denver to go far. They took them 7, man. This team that everybody calls invincible, they took them 7, and their back broke in the end. But at the end of the day, with a backup rookie coach, with everything against them, they took them 7. So I don't think this team is unbeatable. Now, Ant-Man and them, they wet the bed. They wet the bed completely. But I could see Indiana pushing this to 6, maybe 7 games if they shoot the ball the way they shot it against New York. If they shoot the ball like they did against Cleveland, this could be a long series, in my opinion. Calvin, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, OKC in 5. I think they get them out here fairly quickly. It'll be interesting to see the ratings are, in my opinion. Like, are people looking to see what they think is the new NBA, the new powerhouse in Oklahoma City? But Oklahoma City in 5.
Justin?
If I'm repeating myself from earlier, OKC in 4.
But any other thoughts on anything around the world of sports before we get out of here?
if you guys want to watch something that's entertaining, you should probably check out if you can YouTube it.
Tie
The,
game.
the college. Oh, we just got a home run.
Rushman.
Shout out to him, my man Rushman.
Athlete.
College World Series women's softball.
Okay.
Tremendously entertaining, and just for those that don't know, Major League Baseball finally said it's a
Mhm.
professional softball league, AUSL, if I'm not mistaken, Athletes Unlimited Softball League. They signed them on, so now you have a professional softball league that's getting backing from its counterpart, just like the WNBA with the NBA. So these players should start to get a little bit more money in their pockets, and now you can actually start saying, "Hey, if you have a daughter, hey,
Baseball.
softball is a way out,"
Mhm.
instead of just saying, "Hey, you can play up until college, and good luck
Yeah.
to you."
Mhm.
So there you go.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah, and another tidbit, just if people been remember the Olympics, they will be bringing in flag football. We haven't talked about that yet, but what you all think about that? Olympics is saying that flag football will be a sport starting in the next Olympic cycle. And
Oh, I
NFL
think
players
Lamar Jackson should sign up first one.
I think Lamar might be a candidate.
Lamar gonna be in year 10, 11.
What's wrong with that? Just to say you're an Olympian one time? Why not? You said LeBron was in year 20.
Let him go. Let him get,
Win a
hopefully he
Super
don't
Bowl
get hurt.
first. Win a Super Bowl first.
And it's
and I'm all
flag.
for
It's
it.
not like it's contact. We
Win a
play
Super Bowl
flag.
first. We've seen non-contact football injuries. Win a
That's
Super
true.
Bowl first.
That's true. That's true. But again, that's 2 years from now. He could win a Super Bowl between now and then.
It's 3 years. Well, two seasons.
2 seasons. Well, 2 more seasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see. And
3
I
more
thought it was
seasons.
very
I'm sorry.
interesting. It'd be very interesting. Flag football in the Olympics. Anyway,
Did they say it's 7-on-7?
I mean, how else you can play 11 on 11?
I'm just curious. I didn't know if it was like 5-on-5 or 7-on-7.
We're gonna find out.
I
You
did
can play 11 on 11 too.
one thing we didn't talk about, which I know we had talked about earlier, and y'all getting y'all way. So we'll be USA versus the world next All-Star game.
Goddamn right.
Man, how else could it be? Like
This is it. By the way, this is it. If this don't work, we talk
cancel
about
it.
we just
Cancel
having a
Christmas.
skills
Yeah.
competition. That's it.
Yeah, be done with it. USA versus the world. If you look at the roster, and we'll do that one day. We'll look at the rosters and put together, what is it, 12? How many? Or they put 15? How many they put
I
on?
think it's 12 because it's 5 starters and or 13. And then
13?
they pick 8 reserves, 7 reserves, something like that.
All right, we'll do that one day. We'll put out 13 for the world, 13 for the best USA, 13. And some people gonna be left off, and guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. Snubs happen and everything.
So is Tyrese Halliburton getting left off?
In
Yes.
a game like that, I don't think you should.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he made the Olympic team. I mean, let's use that as a starting spot. He was on the Olympic team, so he made it, didn't he?
He'll be entertaining.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We'll be back next week. Is Jalen Brunson making that team?
He should.
Hey, wait, will Rick Brunson be coaching that team?
He's not.
Okay.
We'll be back next week right here. We're gonna try to be back. Well, because game 2, game 3
is Wednesday. Game 3 is Wednesday.
Wednesday. So
Yeah.
we might do next Wednesday. What y'all think? Next
This is
Wednesday,
1-1.
do live during the finals. Since the finals ain't like must see for none of us, we'll keep an eye out. So we'll plan it. We'll plan to be back next Wednesday night. Take a look at what's going on with the series, and that we'll carry it from there. I know Justin, you got softball. We out of season for that, right? You ain't got nothing to coach.
No. We going around the city, man.
Okay.
Going around the city.
All right.
Yep. We're from here to West Baltimore. Played a couple teams over there.
When was your next game?
Sunday.
Okay. And when's Kobe's next game, Cal?
Saturday.
All right, man, I love it. Yeah, it is supposed to rain. Anyway, y'all, good luck with all of that, and we'll see you next week for another edition. Get off the damn fence. Have a good night.